Hey guys, all two of you, but that's one more than I had. Gosh, when did I do it? the Did I do it last? Hell, I can't remember anymore. When I'm doing these things, I've been so like not strung out on drugs or anything, but just hey, blissful. Um, but just between work and taking care of the animals, taking care of Steve, all that kind of business. I can't keep things straight anymore. But basically, whenever I did the second part of my Twilight Zone from the '80s first season stream, um, I'm not sure if people just had things going on or not enough promotion for it. But Texas was basically the only one that showed up, and he couldn't stay long because he was having a procedure done the next day. So, um, needless to say, he was going to have to get some rest. So, but I did want to announce the watch along for Friday the 13th tomorrow, where I will, hey, Texas, where I will be doing a watch along for the original Friday the 13th. Um, Anybody is welcome to come on live on that stream, even if it's audio only. I think old Curly Jaws may be on there with me. He kind of expressed an interest in it under my post. Um, so he may very well be on here. I don't usually do streams on Fridays. Usually that's my day to just kind of hang out with Steve. But I thought, well, it's Friday the 13th. So, well, not just give people a treat and I'll do a watch along for Friday the 13th. And so we got that coming up. Saturday, I have another watch along coming up for Slumber Party Massacre. This is the original Slumber Party Massacre with the driller killer and all that good stuff. Naked chicks and all, so you guys can really enjoy that. Blitzwell, you say I finally got the furnace installed that day and I fell asleep. I'm sorry I missed it. Oh no, that's cool, but I'm glad that you got your I'm glad you got your furnace installed. Because I'm sure there's going to be some more cold weather this winter, and we don't want anybody to get too cold. Um, but I'm glad, Blissful, you in Texas are in here tonight. I mean, even if nobody else shows up for the stream, at least I'll have you guys in here. I was a little late getting the promotion out for even this. I had made the photo to put with it, but I was cutting it really close. I was having to really quickly watch the movies today after work because I actually had to get Steve to get me copies of both movies. So he got me the ones we're going to talk about tonight, or I'm going to talk about tonight, Mission to Mars and Femme Fatale. And let me just give you a little bit of a heads up for what I'm going to be covering next Thursday. Because again, I just can't keep anything straight. And I could look at this thing a million times and I'd probably forget still yet from this list. So, the Black Dahlia and Redacted. Hopefully, I'll be able to find copies of both of those. And then after that, we'll be covering Passion and Domino. And Domino's from 2019, and Passion was from 2012. So there was a few years in between those. And then, as promised, I'm going to attempt to go back to his early stuff. Probably not his short films, there were a few short films, but I'm almost afraid that I won't be able to find those. But I'll see if I can find this Murder a la Maude. I think might have, no, Hi Mom's the one that I've got, but hopefully I can find Greetings. The Wedding Party is another one. To Bridge This Gap. Well, no, that's a short. I won't be doing that one. Dionysus in 69. Hi Mom. I do have Hi Mom on DVD. I don't even think I've opened that one up. I got that a long time ago. And Get to Know Your Rabbit. So we're going to be covering all of those films before we're completely finished with De Palma. Liz, will you say, I can roast marshmallows with one of our space heaters? LOL, I'm glad we can shut them off. Right. So I'm also going to have another series of streams on another director. For those of you that hadn't seen my promotion for There's Something About Tarantino. I remember when I said I was trying to come up with kind of a catchy title for the Tarantino stuff. And I was looking at titles that had T in there, and There's Something About Mary came up, and I was like, yeah. I was going to do a play on the talented Mr. Ripley and have the talented Mr. Tarantino, but I thought There's Something About Tarantino was a little bit better. And I kind of asked Steve too, and I think he kind of agreed with me on that. But I don't know, Blissful, Texas. I don't know if you guys have already ate or you're going to have some kind of snack dinner version to have for the stream, but I hope you guys don't mind if I eat my so I said the theme was your favorite backyard barbecue specialty. You maybe think of Mission to Mars and Femme Fatale, and you picked like backyard barbecue stuff. Well, here's why. Because at the beginning of Mission to Mars, they're having a party and a barbecue. And so I thought, well, you know, I can probably get something from Red Robin or one of the other burger shops. And I ended up going with Red Robin. So I have this yummy burger here. I may regret eating something like that this late. I don't usually do that. And I also have some garlic fries with the special Red Robin seasoning on them, which they are actually really good. I think this is a whiskey barbecue burger I've got here, and it looks rather yummy. So I hope you guys won't mind if I eat this as we're talking about the movies. I'm actually going to take a bite of this burger. Which it is very good. It's a little more pink than I like my burgers, but that's okay. At least it ain't got blood running out of it, But Red Robin does have some good burgers and fries. Ooh, Blissful, you're having peach cobbler for dessert. I love peach cobbler. There's actually a place here in Louisville. I think it might be new to Louisville anyway. I think it's called the Peach Cobbler Factory. And they not only have peach cobbler, but they have banana pudding and other things. So I'm wanting to try that out at some point. I need to make a good old peach cobbler. It's been a while since I made a homemade one. So I'm going to take a break from my food there for a minute. And to kick this off, I'm going to see if there is a trailer for Mission to Mars. And I believe there is. So, I am going to share my screen with you guys. Hopefully I can make this bigger here in just a second.
When she's happy, things are good. When she's angry, things...
This is a truly anomalous formation. It's unlike anything that we've seen so far. We're trying not to go too nuts up here, but we think there's a good chance that this could be water. Of course, if that's correct, then we may have found the key to permanent human colonization.
Yes. Okay, we're ready to light this candle. Let's go to Mars.
Hey, what the hell is that? No idea, boss.
Prepare to abandon ship.
For centuries, we've searched for the origin of life on Earth. We've been looking on the wrong planet.
Okay. Let's stop that. So that was a pretty decent trailer, I think, for that. And believe it or not, I had never watched Mission to Mars before tonight. Steve said he went to the movies and saw it. I said, "Did you take a woman with you?" And he's like, "No, I went by myself." Because, of course, that was in 2000. So that was at least a good 9 years before I met Steve in person. So, and who knew we would be married a few years after that. Blissful, you say in upstate New York, we don't have any nice places like that, but I love cooking and baking. I do too. It just seems like, sadly, I don't have as much time anymore to be able to cook like that, like I want to. Blissful, you say you remember this movie? I remember hearing the title, but that's about all. And I did not realize it was a De Palma movie. And, I've talked over and over throughout these series of streams that De Palma is a chameleon director. You cannot pin him down to just one type of movie. And Mission to Mars certainly expands on what I've been saying almost every time I do one of these. And so it starts out, almost like a some kind of off the wall almost like a teen comedy, like you start out and you're thinking, am I watching a John Cusack movie from the 80s or something? Because they are having a big barbecue and a party. Um, and this movie has a great cast too, by the way. Tim Robbins is on here, Gary Sinise, um, Jerry O'Connell, and these guys really, really, in my opinion, work well together. And so they're all at this party, and we find out they're all part of a group who goes on space missions. Well, Gary Sinise's character of Jim, his beautiful wife, got sick. I don't think they ever mentioned what she got sick with. I figured it was cancer. Um, because they basically talk about her wasting away in front of him. Um, and because his wife passed away and he naturally was not in a good state of mind, they didn't even expect him to show up to the party. He was not able to go on this mission to Mars. Um, so one of his friends and is going to get to go in his place essentially. So several of the people, not all of the people that they show at the party, end up initially going to Mars, but some of the group do, and the others stay behind to do their jobs. Gary Sinise's character of Jim, again, he stays behind, but he's very integral to this mission. So the small group that actually goes to Mars, they go out exploring naturally, and they come across some weird, bizarre kind of artifact of some sort in on Mars, and so they're gonna try to figure out what it's made of, and things like that. And then something bizarre happens. It's like a vortex opens up and starts swirling. And the one thing that I could not understand is why they just kind of stood there and looked at it. I mean, because it actually looked like a giant, tornado vortex, um, basically. And one of the women on the crew, this whirling vortex causes a rock on Mars to go right in her face and kills her. One guy gets sucked in there and just completely ripped apart. Um, and I think somebody else may get sucked in there. You don't actually see them get ripped apart. And then there's one guy that's left, and the others see a very choppy bunch of video footage of the guy that survived. And that, of course, the rest of the guys want to go and try to find the guy that survived. And their boss basically says, there's a huge chance that this guy won't even be alive when you guys get there. Evidently, he had been on Mars for a year before they were able to get to him. And when they get to him, he's grown out a beard and stuff, and he's a little kooky living there on Mars by himself with just plants to interact with. But he finally, essentially he eventually gets his senses back, and he and the other crew decide that they're going to go back to where that vortex was to see what this thing is. What it essentially looks like once the vortex went away is it looks like a woman's face, essentially. And so a few of the people end up going inside it, but this is after, um, and spoiler, guys, if you haven't seen this movie yet, you might want to, plug your ears or something. Um, I was a little bit disappointed that so many people got killed off kind of early in the film, because this is almost a 2 hour film, about an hour 54 minutes, hour 55 minutes, something like that. And I was like, well, is everybody going to get killed off here or what? Because, several of them got killed off near the beginning when that first group went to Mars. And then Tim Robbins' character ends up dying. He gets separated from the others, and his wife is on the mission with them. And she keeps trying to get him back, trying to pull him back with some kind of gun thing with like a cable that comes out of it. And Tim Robbins' character knows, his character Woody knows that if his wife keeps going out further and further from the ship where it's kind of safe to try to reach him, she's going to die too. So essentially, he sacrifices himself so his wife won't die. He takes his helmet off, and his face, basically, it looks like almost like it's sand or something that's going to blow away. Leslie, you say you watched it a long time ago, but you liked it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It definitely, to me, felt the least like a De Palma movie out of any of these that I've watched. Up to now. Now, one of these others that I watched, one of the later ones, may change my mind. Texas, you say if Curly Jaws wrote the script, they would all die. That's definitely a possibility, Texas. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize that he directed, or never even really, it just didn't cross their mind. It certainly didn't cross mine. I've heard the same thing said about Mission Impossible, Snake Eyes, stuff like that as well. But all of this stuff, including, even the bad stuff that happened, leads up to the discovery of an alien being on this planet who looks like a woman, only in alien form. And so this alien is not a bad alien. And as far as I know, that this alien being did not cause the death of all the other people. That must have been something else. I mean, it must have been either the atmosphere on Mars or something like that. So Gary Sinise's character of Jim decides to stay behind. He's not going to go back to Earth. He says this is where Mars is where he's meant to be. And I guess he is going to stay with whatever alien beings are on that planet. And he gets in this little ship, basically. And at first I thought he was going to drown because it looked like he was in a glass and it was filling up with water. But evidently, I mean, I don't think that was the case. It just was kind of strange. So there was some strange imagery in this. Another scene I really liked was where they were dancing the night away, essentially, to that song. And there was no gravity, and so Tim Robbins' character and his wife in the movie were dancing with no gravity. And he basically said he was taking advantage of no gravity, and that he could dance better with no gravity. I thought that was a really fun scene. Texas, you say, hell, I never knew he directed Black Dahlia until the movie was over. Yeah, I mean, there have been several of these later movies that I just didn't, I didn't even have a clue. Yes, Wesley. Daner, Daner, Daner. Oh no, here comes trouble, LOL. So I would recommend Mission to Mars. Definitely different than, basically, in my opinion, any of the other Brian De Palma movies that I've covered in these streams. But it was fun. Steve did tell me, he said, this is not going to seem like a De Palma movie to you. And it didn't. But that's why De Palma is so great, because of that chameleon aspect of his directing. I don't think De Palma could ever be pigeonholed because of this. So, with all that being said, we'll move on to the next movie, which is Femme Fatale, which is another one that I don't even think I had heard of this movie until, I was doing research for the stream. Oh, what did she say? We did our 2022 year in review last night. Dana, what film was your favorite from last year? My favorite film from last year. Trying to think. I might have to say Pearl, believe it or not. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with that. So, moving on to Femme Fatale. I'll be honest up front about this one. This one had elements of other De Palma films in it. It felt like a De Palma film. But I want to be totally honest. I was not as fond of this one. I didn't really much care for this one. And I really can't put my finger on it. Maybe it'll come to me in time. But before I get too deep into it, let me see if we can find a trailer for Femme Fatale here. Oh, yes. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys again.
People keep getting hurt in this house. It's Leanne. When she's happy, things are good.
This isn't a game tonight. People can die.
From a master thief to an ambassador's wife,
I don't think you realize who you're dealing with.
one picture can expose both stories. From Brian De Palma, the master of the erotic thriller. 2 lives, 1 woman, a suspense sensation.
You've ruined everything.
Femme Fatale. Look for it on DVD and video.
Okay, that was a short one. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of a hard one for me to pick, Texas, because I really enjoyed X too. But I guess maybe for me, Pearl had a little bit of an extra oomph to it. Which you say, I like Pearl better than X, but I like both. Yeah, you're kind of like me. You say, has Steve been behaving well? In what way, Wes? Honestly, I don't see too much of him when I'm working and he's working, because basically I work till about 4:30 Eastern time while I'm working. He gets home about 3:45 in the afternoon. And so basically he eats and then goes to lay down. And like today, I wasn't feeling too great. And so I just got us some dinner from McAllister's. And I switched shifts with my supervisor asked me if I could switch shifts with another guy. And I started work early, but I didn't get off hardly any earlier because we had a meeting this afternoon. So sometimes by the time I get off at 4:30 or thereabouts, Steve's excuse me, Steve's already went to lay down for the night. So, and he, I talked to him a little bit, but he's not really. Wes knows this. Steve's not a huge conversationalist with anybody. No, he has not told me about the alter ego. Is that going to be his new gimmick for his streams? Lord, I hope not. But anyway, back to Femme Fatale. Yeah, I just there was stuff that went on in this movie, but and it was very reminiscent of like I said, past De Palma films. There's a scene where the lead actress asks an employee of a hotel who brings her some wine or some champagne or something to go and get her purse, and it's by the bed, and the woman can't find it, and she says, well, I'm not seeing it. And she says, well, maybe it's on the floor or something. So the woman bends down, and when she bends down, you see the woman behind her, and then she hits her in the back of the head. That is very reminiscent of scenes like at the end of Raising Cain. And I believe maybe there's a scene similar to that in Dress to Kill, but I could be wrong. Bliss, will you say, does his alter ego wear a cape? Captain Rape wears a cape, yes. AKA the Rape Crusader. I'm sorry. I have to laugh too. Texas, you say Tam CK. I shouldn't laugh. He's my husband, but and honestly, people, there is nothing funny about rape. Rape is a very serious thing, but when they tease Steve about that kind of stuff, it's just funny. Blissful, you say, Dana, I've actually watched both of these movies. It's a first. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen them and you had. So usually I talk about movies that I've seen a million times. Sorry, guys. Sorry to be gobbling this burger down, but I really didn't want it to get too cold. And this sunset lemonade that they have at Red Robin is good too, by the way. So, Anyway, um, the movie starts out with this guy talking to the lead actress, and it almost makes her appear like an assassin in these beginning scenes, but evidently she's supposed to be getting some diamonds. But she's supposed to be turning them over to these guys that she's working for, and she doesn't. She basically runs away with those diamonds, and they want her ass for that. Um, so there's there's quite a bit of like De Palma. One thing you can say about De Palma, he usually will put hot women in his movies, and if at all possible, get them naked or nearly naked, in sexy poses and things like that. And this movie definitely does have that. It shows the lead actress in several, like, bra and a sexy bra and panties and stockings and high heels, and you know every straight guy's fantasy basically. um and he's done the same thing with other actresses, Nancy Allen for one, um Melanie Griffith another. So you know you know you know that there's a possibility when you're watching a De Palma film, not Mission to Mars necessarily, but one of these other darker films, that he's probably going to put some eroticism in there. And that's okay. I mean, it didn't bother me or anything. Even the sex scene between her and Antonio Banderas' character. But, one thing speaking of Antonio Banderas, and some of you guys might disagree with me on this, but the more and more I watch that guy act, he can't act very good. I mean, is it just me? I mean, am I totally off base with that, or does anybody else feel like that? I mean, he can be funny and stuff like that, but I just honestly don't feel like he's that good of an actor. Um, Maybe he's good at like the action type stuff, but as far as one-on-one scenes where they're obviously supposed to be serious scenes, just doesn't do too good. And in typical De Palma fashion, there are many, many twists and turns in this movie. And I'll be honest, I want to go back and rewatch it again, but I was basically having to scan through some of it because this was another long movie. And if I didn't skim through some of it, I wasn't going to get it watched in time before the stream. I was a little bit later doing my stream anyway. Texas used to say I always go to Red Robin for my free birthday burger. How do you get free birthday burgers at Red Robin? Do you have to sign up for their birthday club or something, Texas? I'd like to get in on that because I like their burgers. So, like I said, there's a lot of twists and turns along the way. I was kind of a little confused at some points, but that happens with De Palma films sometimes. Um, Sometimes I feel like De Palma's got a little Argento blood in him. And he, sometimes Argento would do things, or a lot of times Argento would do things in films, um, where it didn't completely make logical sense, but he always made it cool. And even though this wasn't really high on my list of De Palma movies, he still made it a worthy watch. It was not boring. Um, but again, it was like you don't know who you can trust in a De Palma movie. You really can't trust anybody because someone is always ready to stab you in the back, usually in a De Palma movie. Now, Mission to Mars was not like that, but most of his other films, it definitely follows that train of thought. Now, I don't know if De Palma is a suspicious man by nature, and that's why he puts this in his movies, or he just knows what works, because I like the fun of trying to figure things out. Um, he had a lot of twists and turns in Raising Cain, which is one that I talked about a little earlier. Um, and Sisters dealt with doubles and twins. Raising Cain sort of did. And this movie does too. And I'm not going to go into deep detail on that other than to say it appears as if there's some doubles in this film as well. And just when you think you might have it figured out, here comes De Palma with another twist. So, not a boring movie by any stretch of the imagination. It was a decent movie. It's just one that I don't see myself going back and watching again anytime soon, just because it didn't have the same effect on me that other De Palma films have had on me. A lot of the earlier ones, Sisters, Dress to Kill, Blowout. And I don't know if, some of you that have seen Femme Fatale and Blowout, John Travolta was a sound guy in Blowout. But I almost think that Antonio Banderas' character with his camera and things, and the camera tends to get him in a little bit of trouble throughout the course of this movie. But I thought that even though John Travolta in my eyes is a much better actor and had a much better character in Blowout, that his character in Blowout and Antonio Banderas' character in Femme Fatale are similar. Um, so we're talking about Antonio Banderas, Texas. You say it depends on the movie. He's usually really good in the Almodovar films. You say, yeah, you sign up, and every 5 burgers you buy, you get one free. Ooh, maybe I need to do that. Blissful, you say it's not his acting, it's his hair. Yeah, he does have some crazy hair. But I will say, if you're looking for a sexy, stylish, because Brian De Palma is always definitely stylish, especially with movies of this type, a slightly erotic thriller, then this would fit the bill. It definitely would fit the bill. I think that he could have tightened it up a little bit, shortened it up a little bit. I don't really think that it needed to be quite as long as it was. I mean, you could have shaved a little bit off of there and maybe had it an hour and 40 minutes, hour and 45 minutes, but I don't think it needed to be about an hour 55. That close to 2 hours. I don't think it's an ego thing with De Palma. I just think the more and more they direct and the more and more money some of the studios will throw at them, sometimes it causes excess. And I think that happens to the best of us, doesn't it? They get to thinking, well, they gave me all this money. What could I do with it? But so this was short and sweet and to the point. And, because I got a late start, I didn't really want to go on forever and ever. But I hope that me discussing these two films, for those of you in here tonight that maybe haven't seen one or both of the films, maybe it will encourage you to seek them out and watch them, or to rewatch them if it's been a while since you watched them. And I will be back next Thursday with another one. But I hope to see a lot of you guys in the watch along for the original Friday the 13th tomorrow night, starting at I think I got it set up for 7 p.m. Eastern time. Now the one on Saturday, Steve is planning a watch along before I do my watch along, so that's going to push me back to 8 p.m. Eastern time for the Slumber Party Massacre watch along on Saturday. And then next Tuesday, I debut There's Something About Tarantino, and we're going to be talking about a short that Tarantino did, which I usually don't do this, but I do know that I could probably get access to it. It was on YouTube at one point. So my best friend's birthday and Reservoir Dogs is what I will be covering next Tuesday. And of course, we will be having another My Dinner with the Palma. I don't know what the dinner portion's going to be yet till after I see the movies. So we got a lot of stuff lined up. I've still got to get some promotion out for the other watch alongs for this month on Saturdays. You think they all sound amazing, Blissful? Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. But again, I'm sorry for feeding my face, but this is called My Dinner with the Palma, so I kind of got an excuse in this case. But with all that being said, I think I'm going to go on and get out of here. Yes, I do, Texas. I do definitely have the Slumber Party Massacre Steelbook. And I have although I won't get it down because I'll probably end up knocking a bunch of shit off. But way up there on the shelf, I have the Russ Thorn figure. I got it as well. But with that all being said, I think I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the night. You do as well, Texas? Cool. And I will see everyone on the flip side. Y'all have a good night now. And I'll see you tomorrow night for Friday the 13th watch along.